Tonight is bonfire night, a cause of celebration for millions around the country. But with many affected by the noise, the pollution and increased antisocial behaviour, not to mention the impact on animals, and with countless tragic accidents that happen every year involving innocent bystanders, should we ban fireworks? Are they a dangerous nuisance? Let's get to our first call in the People's Hour, and let's go to Bruges in Belgium and Andrew. Hello, Andrew.
Hello there, good evening.
Andrew, great to have you on the show. Do you live in Belgium?
I do. I have done so for about a decade now.
All right. Poor you. Do you want us to rescue you?
No, I mean, it's life is pretty good. Can't complain.
Listen, it's a beautiful country, and Bruges, a lovely historic old city. Will they be having fireworks this weekend, Andrew?
No, it's not something. I mean, firework night is not something that's celebrated here anyway. I mean, the only time we really have fireworks is on New Year's Eve. But even then, it's very highly controlled because you don't. It's restricted by region, so each municipality has a different rule. There are some municipalities where you're not allowed to have them full stop. There are other ones where you can, but with a license in advance. And even when you do buy them and you've had your license, you've had the request approved, when you go and you buy fireworks, they come in grades of 1 to 4. And you have to buy them with your ID card. So you have to give your name and address so they know exactly where you are and what exactly you're buying, because it's very highly controlled.
Well, do you think that's how we should be doing it in the UK? Because there are lots of pensioners who are terrified of these fireworks. It's pretty awful for dogs and cats as well, Andrew.
Well, I don't think they should be available at all, actually. I mean, I think I'm not one to cancel things generally as a rule. But I think this is something that I do feel very strongly about, simply because I kind of consider it as one of those toxic traditions, pretty much like fox hunting or bullfighting. It's something that really has no meaning anymore. I think a lot of people tend to do it even though they don't really know why they're doing it, because, I mean, I don't think that many kids really know the history of Guy Fawkes, for starters. And then, I mean, aside from the, that element, there's also the fact that a lot of people just tend to buy fireworks that sometimes don't conform to British safety standards. And they don't know how to handle them. They can be dangerous. We've already seen in the news tonight that you've got these unruly youths that are mishandling the fireworks and throwing them at people.
Using them as a weapon.
Using them as a weapon. And although we go on about, the cats and dogs who are also terrified of these, I mean, we forget about the wild animals as well and the wildlife. I mean, like things like nests that catch fire from falling firework debris, horses in fields that, even from these organised events, I mean, horses get cardiac arrests and die every year from this. So I just think that, owls, for example, also the same. So I think it's just something that really needs to be reviewed and restricted. Here you can only do it between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning on New Year's Eve, and with a license, that's it. In fact, from 2019 in Bruges, they replaced fireworks with a drone sound and light show instead of fireworks.
There you go. I think that's the way to go. Mike Porky Parry, what do you think about the fact that in this country you can go to the supermarket and essentially buy a rocket?
Yeah, well, that's fine. I don't like legislation. Andrew hinted on that earlier. He said, I'm not trying to ban things. I don't like banners, because when you ban fireworks, you'll then go and ban fox hunting, then you'll ban fishing. I don't like banners. I like people to be able to exercise their own common sense. And the problem is that if you left it to people and said, look, read the instructions on the box that contains your fireworks, your rockets, your fizzy, exploding, what are they called?
The Catherine wheels?
Catherine wheels, thank you very much indeed, and all that. And just behave. Look, I'm not trying to make light of this, but we don't very often get serious problems on bonfire night in this country in terms of injuries, because it's become a culture here. We love it. Youngsters love it. I love it. I say more fireworks, not less.
Andrew, you're a lucky man living in Belgium. Beer, chips and chocolate. That's Porky and my favourite food stuff. Do come and see us again on the People's Hour. Let's head to Salisbury now. And Francis Moore. Hi, Francis. We're just going to get the line to Francis. By the way, Salisbury, famous for its cathedral and famous for Francis. How are you, Francis?
Well, I'm well with my terrier, who's just hiding underneath me for the moment because he's had a few bangs going off locally, but I look after him. Now, I'm with Porky, actually, on all of this. I hate the cancel culture. Look, the first fireworks we had in this country, as far as I know, in celebration, and I think that's an important point to make. It's in celebration, was 1494. Then we had the gunpowder plot in 1605, and Guy Fawkes is now remembered as the guy on top of the bonfires. And it's a big social occasion. And we should just remember that. It brings a lot of joy. It brings sales of fireworks, which adds to our economy. Sorry, the dog's getting in the way.
What's his name? What's his name, Francis?
He's called Chaos.
Well, chaos by name, chaos by nature. Is he a little stressed out tonight though with the fireworks?
Yeah, he gets a bit wimpy, but I look after him, and he's a really good chap. But remember, what is nature's fireworks? Thunder and lightning. So which woke person is going to cancel thunder and lightning? So he gets a bit wimpy about those two.
However, Francis, what about the fact that we're endlessly being berated in relation to pollution and climate change, which is something that is always up for debate? Clearly, fireworks can't be great for the environment. So anyone that goes to a fireworks display or buys a firework is an eco-hypocrite.
No.
Rubbish. Simply rubbish.
All they
basically,
do, Francis, all they do is chuck smoke.
You're going to get me going on a completely different topic.
They chuck debris into the air, Francis. They're very polluting.
Tiny amounts.
Let's bring Porky into this. Porky, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I am. I mean, a firework puts a tiny amount of gunpowder into the air, less than you get from firing a bullet in a gun. I mean, to say that they pollute the air, Mark, I'm shocked and surprised with you and somewhat disappointed that you want to come up with some spurious argument about yet more environmental pollution from an occasion which Francis has outlined brilliantly. It's gaiety. It's light. It's fizz.
Well, listen, Mike,
it lights up the skies.
Mike,
we should all do it.
Mike Porky Parry, you're gay enough. But the thing is, this is the point I'll make to you, Francis, because I certainly don't sign up to the net zero eco agenda. I don't think we should bankrupt our economy whilst China and America burn fossil fuels for fun. But Francis, let me draw your attention to India, where in their great cities, pollution is so bad that fireworks have been banned on certain nights of the year, because if the fireworks go up, the air becomes quite literally unbreathable.
Well, Mark, just reel back a few years. Look at London. And we were burning coal in London, and the smogs were awful.
Pea soupers.
And we moved on. And I think one of the things to learn is that capitalism has taught us to be more efficient in the way that we operate. So I, like you, am not a net zero subscriber. I think we're bankrupting this country. We're bankrupting the world. We're destroying the world on the thesis of scientists who we cannot believe, because forecasting, and it is only a forecast, because I've yet to see a single worldwide event that I could put down to climate change. Yes, there is change in climate, but that's a very different point of view. So look, coming back to the point that you asked, which is whether fireworks pollute the UK or any other country? No. And I think we've got to balance it very carefully against people actually having a good time. I literally pick up on what Porky is saying, because we've got to have some fun. We're not having much fun at the moment.
Exactly.
I'm not hearing massive personal firework displays locally, because I think people have probably run out of money. But, you know, if you go to central displays, they're a bit anonymous. They do raise, and I think this is an important point, they do raise a lot of money for charity, and I'm very pleased about that. But they're very anonymous. What we need is more social interoperability, if I can get that word out. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you may be covering later in your programme is about being good neighbours. And yes, firing fireworks up in the air needs good neighbourly practices, because you shouldn't be intruding on other people, and at least warn them in advance about what you're doing. I was brought up farming, Mark, so I know all about fireworks and animals. And what you have to do is just for an occasion, and if it's a birthday outside the zone, as it were, or another celebration outside the zone, then communicate with neighbours and say what you're going to do. Just don't fire off a firework and let horses get into trouble or sheep get into trouble.
Okay.
You know, it's all about common sense.
A bit of common sense.
What I want is not people banning us, but common sense.
A bit of common sense. Now, Francis, I've got to say, personally, I find fireworks boring. When you've seen one display, you've seen them all. But you know what? I'd quite happily watch you and Chaos for half an hour. It's been a thrill to have you on the show. Come and see us again soon. That is Francis and his gorgeous hound, Chaos.